houses take downsizing seriously and beautifully. If you want to learn more about the tiny house lifestyle, stay with us for the next few minutes. Well, I want to go ahead and welcome my friend Art, the Tiny House Festival organizer. Art, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Yes, okay, so I love this concept because it takes everything that so many people stress out about, which is like so much space, and compacts it in so many ways, right?
That's right.
So what can people experience at the Tiny House Festival?
So there's a bunch of different ways that people can live tiny or be tiny or downsize even. So we have tiny homes, we've got a lot of unique recreational vehicles. Yeah. And tiny structures come in all shapes and sizes: school buses, camper vans, domes, and of course tiny homes on wheels.
Yeah, I've actually been seeing this trend a lot on social media, people getting something like a bus or what have you and completely changing it. And some of these transformations are so beautiful. It makes me question the houses that we've even been looking at. Yeah. So this is very impressive. So why do you think tiny houses are so special in general?
I think it's because well, it's kind of taking something that we're all doing already.
Yeah.
So most people only use a couple rooms in their house, their bedroom, their kitchen, and their living room and a bathroom.
Yeah.
And it just basically says we'll get rid of all this extra space and downsize and make our lives a lot more simple. And like I said, there's a whole other aspect of this of recreation. So a lot of people, especially with COVID, have learned that they can hit the road,
right,
work from home, and that home can be anywhere.
Right, exactly, which makes travel so much easier, so wonderful. How many tiny homes will people be able to tour and see if they come out to the festival?
So we're anticipating somewhere between 30 and 40 structures. Okay. That maybe 15 to 20 tiny homes and various vans and buses. So somewhere between 30 and 40 homes.
Okay, so plenty to see. What are some of the coolest features that you've personally seen in some of these tiny houses, or even just tiny structures in general at these festivals?
So I think that there's a lot of building science in some of these small structures. Sure. So they're really efficient and they've got a lot of the amenities of a regular sized home, but some of the ways that the builders and the DIYers will take a space and make it multifunction or do a little turn or twist on a typical layout you might see in a tiny home, and it will completely change the space.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. Again, on some of those social media posts, you'll walk into like a room in a tiny structure and you think it's just a normal sitting area, and then all of a sudden a bed pops out.
That's right, or
so
a table.
Nice. A table, yeah, exactly. It makes it so easy. That is so awesome. So there will be, of course, tiny house experts there. What will people learn? What are some of the biggest things they can look forward to learning there?
So where to park, how you can live in a tiny home in Colorado. Yeah. They'll learn kind of tips and tricks on finding a builder. From the DIY crowd, it's a great opportunity to learn some of the nuance of living tiny.
Sure. Okay, great. Now, there is also legislature on the floor that would make tiny home living a lot more viable option here in Colorado. What are your thoughts on some of that legislation?
So I think it's great.
Yeah.
It actually goes into effect in July.
Nice.
So just next month.
Yeah.
And it's great. It has building code, there's inspections, and so it gives you the opportunity to basically live in a tiny home permanently.
Wow.
As real property.
Do you think that that'll make a huge difference for a lot of people in Colorado, especially when it comes to the housing market prices right now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's not just that. I mean, if you're younger or older and you're having a hard time coming up with the money to buy a $500,000 or $800,000 house, there's obviously a solution there. Mm-hmm. But even people who live in their current home, who may be able to start an Airbnb tiny home business, sure, it could afford the opportunity for them to stay in their home and increase their own personal revenue.
Yeah, you know what, honestly, I think this festival will be great for anybody to even go out and get some ideas to do in their homes in general. Yeah. So I think this is so great. Well, thank you so much, Art, for being here, for telling us about this. I think this is going to be a really cool way for people to experience what tiny home living could be.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Of course, guys. Well, the Tiny House Festival takes place on June 24th and 25th in Brighton. For more information, you can go to ColoradoTinyHouseFestival.com.